Back here at CPAC 2017, Ricochet.com, and I'm delighted to be joined with America's leading conservative comedian, Evan Sayet. Evan, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure, and that was great.
Only one take, right?
One take, and you said everything I need to hear. You say America's leading conservative comedian. Mention my book, mention my video, and I'm out of here.
You're done.
I'm done.
My
work here is done.
Thank you. Evan, we're obviously surrounded by conservatives, and this is Donald Trump spoke this morning. We had Vice President Pence last night. What are your thoughts from the perspective of what we're seeing here this week?
Well, first of all, it's the first time in how many years that we're at the conservative convention and we have a Republican president. You can just, the cloud that was over us for so long, even though we kept winning elections, we didn't get the big one. Now we've got the big one, and you can feel it. There's just a lightness to this place that hadn't been here in the last few years.
It's definitely some energy. One of the things that a lot of people are saying about Donald Trump is that he's talking to the common man, and he's talking in a way that politicians don't talk before. You talk to a lot of people through your comedy, and this is something you've been doing for many years. As a conservative comedian, which you have to use that word hyphenated because most comedians aren't.
Right, and there are some comedians who are conservative, but that's just what their beliefs are. It's not what their act is. I'm actually a political comedian. You know, I had been out of stand-up comedy for a long time. I was a road comic when I was young. When my kid was born, I didn't want to be on the road as often as it requires, so I started writing for other people. I wrote Bill Maher's Politically Incorrect for many years. I was the original writer of Win Ben Stein's Money, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But when I became a conservative, I said to myself, what weapon, what tool is our side missing that I can help with? And I said, we don't have a Bill Maher for the right. And so I intentionally put together a political act that skewers the left just the same way that Bill Maher skewers the right and Jon Stewart does and Jimmy Kimmel and all the others do. We needed, because Saul Alinsky said ridicule is the most powerful weapon of all. And we didn't have people who, even our candidates refused to ridicule the other side. John McCain was too collegial. Mitt Romney didn't throw that second punch. And so now we've got a candidate, and now a victorious candidate, now the President of the United States, who did throw those punches, and that's in the political world. I do it in the cultural world.
Labeling his people that he was running, whether they're Republicans in the primary, obviously Hillary in the general, labeling them and getting people to laugh and doing those things. You obviously see that power yourself. How can we as conservatives bring that to the mainstream? Because we were talking earlier, and HBO's got two very left-leaning shows, right. Bill Maher and the Sunday night show I keep on Oliver. Right. How does conservatives get into that?
Well, we're very lucky to be living in the time we're living in because we don't need them as much as we once did. They were once the gatekeepers of the Hollywood film because it was so expensive to make a movie. I mean, just to get a camera was $100,000. Now to get 5 cameras is that much more. Then to make the actual film stock, then to deliver and to distribute it. I mean, there was no way an individual can do it. Now the technology is such. Going on right in the other room is a movie that was crowdfunded.
Right.
And is a major motion picture, the Gosnell movie. Right? There are things that we can do now that we don't need the left for. So I'm not going to get on HBO. I've got a new comedy video coming out called Evan Sayet, A Deplorable Mind, which is funny, and I know it's funny not just because I wrote for everybody else. So
right.
If I can write jokes for Bill Maher, if I can write jokes for Jay Leno, if I can write jokes for Arsenio Hall, I was the voice of Black America for 2 years. Obviously, I can write jokes for myself. All right, and HBO said we will not put this on because of the content. Not because they were so offended by it, but they were afraid that the other comedians would go to Showtime or would go to Netflix or wouldn't do HBO because they put this Nazi on.
Interesting. So they would be more afraid of losing a Bill Maher or a John Oliver than so what you're basically is that you have a blackout by their own talent.
There's absolutely no doubt about it. In fact, club owners who are overwhelmingly conservative, they're small businessmen. They own a small club. They will not hire conservative act, not because they don't share our ideology, they do, but because if they were to put me on and Bill Maher saw it, he would say, how could you work with that Nazi? I can't work with you. How can you work with that fascist? We're deplorables.
Right.
How can you? Right. And so would Rosie O'Donnell, and so would Jon Stewart, or whomever. Just go down the list of the people who have so much animus for us, and it just doesn't make sense for a club owner to get one great week of me and risk losing all those others.
Comedy works, though, and on Ricochet, and we have a famous writer on Ricochet. I don't know if you've heard of his name, David Diebel. He's also leans conservative.
I know
as well.
David. I know David very
good friend
well.
of mine, and we've done podcasts.
He's
together.
like the second or third funniest conservative comedian. Sorry, David.
Right
Sorry, David.
But you know, he would write an article, and it gets tons of response and comments because people want to laugh and they want to take a look through the lens of lightheartedness.
Well, look, a joke is literally taking a setup and a punchline that is 180 degrees from that setup. And because liberalism is total hypocrisy, there's nothing they say they actually believe. They're not social justice warriors, because if you're a black conservative, they hate you just as much.
Right.
They're not pro-women. If you're a woman Republican, they hate you just as much. It's so... The Democrats lend themselves. Their policies are actually jokes. They are hypocritical, and in such, it's a joke. So it's easy to do.
Yeah, fascinating. What are you taking away from here at CPAC, and what are you hoping to see over the next 4 years?
Well, I was hoping to take away your producer, but she said no.
No?
Yeah, no luck there. So I really have nothing. I really shouldn't have even come. Listen, you come here for a number of reasons, and one of them is to be energized.
Right.
You know, out in LA, it's easy to feel all alone. It's very easy to feel like you're the lone crusader, and then you come here, and it's thrilling. So many. I sound like an old man, but it's true. So many young people are here this year.
Yeah.
You know, supposedly the young we're going to lose that. The demographic shift is against us. No, it's not.
It's incredible.
It's incredible.
Yeah, I'm stunned. I'm stunned by how. Yeah, and I feel old, and I'm not yet 50. No, it's really interesting to see. So, well, Evan, I appreciate you taking the time.
Let me plug something.
On
Amazon.
Great.
Amazon. And Evan Sayet,
Sayet.
EVAN, S as in Sam, AYET.com. Just Google Sayet. There's nobody else with my name. But look for in the next few days, Evan Sayet, A Deplorable Mind. It's the stand-up comedy special that HBO won't run.
Very good. Thank you so much for your time, Evan.
My pleasure.
Appreciate
Good to
it.
see you.
Thank you. Likewise.
The camera's on. That one's on. Okay, go ahead, Dave.
Okay, all right. Delighted to be here back at CPAC 2017 with America's
Stop.
leading...
His recorder isn't on.
Oh,
Sorry. And neither is yours. Here we go. Let's start again. Okay, perfect.
Okay. We're back here at CPAC 2017, and I'm delighted to be joined with America's leading conservative
Or opinion maker. That was
Opinion
fine.
maker.
You can keep going with that. And then go into the... You want me to handle this?